Welcome back to Gatekeeper Media's coverage of the 2023 Jonesboro Open in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is the round 2 chase card coverage on the back 9, and I'm Andrew Fish, joined here by Nathan Queen.
Fun stuff to watch out here at Jonesboro. So many birdies, as we're going to see right here in a second. 3 clean cards on our scorecard so far. Chris Dickerson running into a bit of trouble, but fighting back strong. There we are. Corey Ellis 7 down through the first 9 holes. Emerson Keith fighting strong at 5 down right behind him.
And the field doing some hot things once again. Seems like 5 down is about the minimum to keep you in contention on the front 9, as we are halfway home at the Jonesboro Open. Another stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yeah, moving into hole 10, 360-foot par 3. The ground slopes left to right the entire way. Then you go a bit back up before it slopes left to right some more on the green. You want to move just a little bit off to the right after the drive. With as calm as it is, you're going to see some backhand mid-range, as we're going to see here, or mainly fairway drivers from most players, and then hope for some anti-skip.
That's a putt.
Not as much as you'd like to get there, as he's still going to remain in circle 2.
Dickerson also going to go with a buzz. And I think if you're making this backhand play, the idea is that you're either getting a little bit of drift and matching the slope as you land, as Dickerson also going to come up short, or you're trying to play it really fast into the hill and get that anti-skip, as you call. Alternatively, the forehand play, kind of a faster disc with a little bit of turn on it. Emerson overturns it, but that kind of does play to take the ceiling out of play a little bit more, Nathan.
It does, and I think the forehand play really goes better if you have enough distance to go with the fairway driver. That distance driver, if you get it up high enough and flat enough, can really take a big flare off of the top of that hill and put you farther right than you want to be. Fairway driver will drift over there nicely for you. As we're not going to see our chase card here get too many good birdie looks. These are pretty far away, and a steep slope behind the basket's going to call for some layups here.
Yeah, we can tell you how to do it. They're the ones who still have to show you. Emerson from outside circle 2, definitely taking his time here. Do you think that implies run or layup?
I think it implies run. Absolutely, that's got some height. Works out pretty well for what it was.
Yeah, I think a run from that deep is a little bit ambitious, as the slope behind is pretty severe. Dickerson, kind of foiled in the woods, has to go to the knee and the forehand. Clip something on the way out, but still mid-circle for his par look. Corey Ellis to get his back 9 started. And lips out.
Yeah, a little bit low right, but looked like a pretty good putt to me. This can get into some big trouble for Dickerson, but it does look like it curls back around. Still going to be circle 2 now, coming back for bogey.
And a big conversion on that front, just kind of minimizing the damage. Take a look from a different angle. You see the jump putt, a little cleaner than he normally makes it, and catches those left side chains and dunks in.
Yeah, not much par going on for Chris so far. Kind of on the birdie bogey train. I'm sure he would love to clean those bogeys up and get a par in there.
Yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating, especially in a tournament where scoring is the solution, to just count up your bogeys and say, wow, I birdied enough, but gave it all back.
Right, and just 27% of the field carding the birdie on this one today. A bit lower than you would expect for one of the shorter holes out here.
And we see our card play 1 over overall. Hole 11, 560 feet, a par 4 that is going to snake first to the left and then back to the right. I imagine we'll see mostly fairway drivers off the tee. something overstable to move to the left, and then either putter turnover or forehand into the green. Ellis going to that backhand. So much of this shot is just putting yourself in position to attack on the second, and Ellis gonna go big like we saw Simon try yesterday.
Wow. Not quite as inside as Simon's line was, but does get tons of height on that, actually causing him to move left too much. Gonna be pretty pinched off. Interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to play like a low running forehand. More complicated than you dream of when you're playing the course in your head. Emerson, this is more like what I want to see. Hung out to the right, plenty of height to move left, and that is in a prime position.
Yeah, no two angles about that one. He's gonna throw one angle up there, try to let it spike in right by the pin. Oh boy.
This is pulled much too far to the right. That cluster shouldn't seriously be in play, and that's going to leave him well back on the fairway.
Yeah, it seems like he may have had a little bit of trouble dialing back for this one. That seemed like a lot of power to put on a shot that you only really need to travel 300 feet.
But perhaps with as much attack that this course is demanding, folks aren't wanting to play a placement shot.
As Chris showing you there, you can get more than 300 feet. Gonna be in a similar spot to Emerson.
Anheuser forehand from Willis. He needs this to hold over for a really long time.
Just kind of lands in the middle of the fairway out there. Gonna be almost where you, a little bit farther than where you want to be off of the tee. And Corey had a little more room than I thought he would. He was able to get a forehand out there. Gonna put him inside circle 2, but we know he likes to make those.
Emerson with a forehand and nearly taps the base. Again, well inside circle 1. Chris close enough to be able to throw a little approach disc as well. I think this is a zone. Stalls to about 15 feet.
Well, yesterday we only had eagles on hole 16 out here. Today, 2 people decided to throw in on hole 11 here for a 2 from over 200 feet. John Jones, right about 200 feet. Adam Hammis, you just showed 222.
Well, congratulations to them. A relief not to have to putt, but hey, if you're Corey Ellis, you can jam your putts from anywhere.
Yeah, so fun to watch, just like we saw early on in the round. Confident, dead center on the pole from circle 2. Never a doubt about it. Nice birdie, moving him to 8 down now through 11.
Corey told me that a big part of his routine this year was staying relaxed on the course and as well as off the course, avoiding stressful situations. Certainly plays into the mental game to be able to make those putts like that when you need that extra bit of focus.
Absolutely. And Chris still staying away from the pars for now, but in the right direction again. Got that birdie. Emerson Keith, another birdie, moving him to 6 under par. Feels good to get this one before you go to hole 12. A little more difficult to get.
And John in for his par.
And here we are at hole 12, 655 foot par 4. It's about 400 feet, maybe a little bit more to carry over that OB there. Then you've got got a blind shot up and over top of this hill, where the slower disc you can throw, the better chance you have to stay in the circle, as it does slope steeply downhill right past the pin, or really before the pin also.
Yeah, it's kind of slopey everywhere. Ellis,
Smash.
yeah, smash, rips his shot over, but a little bit, plenty of stability to get back. Not quite midway up the hill, so won't be able to see the basket. Emerson reaches down for a little extra hyzer. If this comes in front of the trees on the right, it will be in great position.
A little scary, but it probably was like...
Yeah, just misses those trees on the right that you were talking about. Not quite as far as Corey, but still going to be in a great spot. Really, anywhere across this OB is fine. You can get a birdie from laying up short. So regardless of how far right or how far left you get, you're going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, completely agree. Because from nowhere are you going to see the basket, and it's forehand or backhand, whatever you can get to come in softly. John, looks like he threw that mostly with his arm. It's starting to fade out a little earlier and lower on the hill, but still clears. We'll be throwing to mid-range Anheuser angle he's lining up. And I like the Anheuser release here to try to land the disc flat rather than on a hyzer.
Yeah, and does minimize the ground play. Being picky with it again, just a little bit too much power, but does land inside the circle. Going to be playing a lot longer of a putt, though.
You see the extra ground play on the forehand as it comes in on edge a little more, but also a credible putting attempt.
Yeah, Chris far enough to go standstill putter shot and leaves it just a tad short. Might have crept inside the circle, but this isn't really one you want to putt down at. It just doesn't seem to stop.
And Emerson making the unusual miss of too high. You see the frustration as he gets an infamous hole 12 roll away back into circle 2.
Oh, and catches metal again, but is able, or the disc does sit down this time.
So Emerson will hold it to a single bogey. John Willis getting off of that par train with a well-earned birdie on 12.
Yeah, you could see it looked like he might have thought he pulled it right again, but the chains do catch it this time. Nice clean round going for him if he can get some birdies strung together. Corey Ellis, speaking of stringing some birdies in, 9 down now, back-to-back, 11-12. A little closer than I thought. Chris should clean this up pretty nicely.
Hey everybody, Emerson Keith here with Team Lone Star. I wanted to let y'all know about my new tour series this year. I have the Bayonet, I have the Frio, I also have a BB6 that I don't have on me, but these are going to come in the Founders plastic, and be on the lookout on the Lone Star website for these to come out. You won't want to miss it.
Hole 13, an uphill par 3 at 353 feet. The drone is flying the right side, which would almost always be right-hand backhands, thrown with something pretty overstable on hyzer to try to climb. There is a little bit of a cheeky through the trees route up the left that we may see some players attempt. Like so.
Yeah, he got that up really high. Looked like it would have caught some of those branches you were talking about, but gets through. He's going to be up there inside circle 1. A right-hand backhand through that gap is very tight off of the tee, but a great way to control your landing up there at the green.
Dickerson a little lower, a little more driven, and similar result. Very well done.
Is John lining that up as well?
Don't think so.
Oh.
Oh, he is.
Man, they got some tips from Calvin yesterday, I think.
Tell you what, these guys are breaking the hole. I remember a few years ago, it was regarded as, how do you reach it? It's really, really hard to get to it because everyone was taking the straighter gap. But if 3 out of 4, or 3 out of 3 for now, Keith going to take the right side, are getting into the circle, taking the left side. I bet there's going to be some extra practice shots that way.
Yeah, I hope it just doesn't mean that they decide to take that away. Because as you said, you need that right-handed backhand to go the other way, and I don't have that.
Dickerson in. Well done from circle's edge.
Keeping the birdies going now. Another turkey for him, back to 5 under par. Or getting to 5 under par, for the first time this round.
Corey, this could push him to 10 down through the first 13. And stabs it in there very nicely.
Gobble, gobble.
Nathan, John's been clean this round. No bogeys so far. His first time on coverage in 2023, and has kind of been grinding it out, like learning how to play on tour, learning how to survive the ups and downs. What are you seeing from him as this round goes on?
Like you said earlier, he's just kind of really dove into himself, and he's keeping himself very focused and well maintained throughout his round. When you're nervous, it's easy to let that go and kind of miss what's going on. But he's holding himself together well, which is a good sign for your first time on coverage this year. Hole 14, difficult par 3. Got some OB to carry. If you get your disc too turned over, it could come into play over on the right side, and a late gap to hit that really lines up this basket. And Corey comes in just a little bit right, but sneaks on through those trees. He's going to be almost in the bullseye looking for a birdie and to go 11 under par.
This is pretty textbook for how you want to throw this shot. A little bit of a force over, stable disc to fight back, a little bit of bonus tree love and or ground play to push him well into circle 1. Dickerson's going to go with a slower disc, I think trying to limit the fade on the end. Higher shot, but never right of the basket.
Yeah, I don't like the height on that one. As much downhill as this goes, you kind of need a down nose angle, maybe flat, but really a little bit down. Otherwise, you're going to catch that fade.
And this was a tricky wind to throw in. A little bit of headwind with some right to left cross.
Yeah, and John also not quite getting that nose angle down enough. Or enough drift to the right. It's pretty thick where those guys are at. It's hard. There's very little room to get through. There is some room to go over top.
And this is a bayonet from Emerson Keith. Again, never right of the basket, but we'll see what that funneled to.
The fact that you can see the basket on camera right now is absolutely incredible to me. I don't know how they pulled that off.
Yeah, good catch by our Gatekeeper camera crew.
Yeah, this is more what you expect to see when you're over here.
So Dickerson goes with the very silly thumber over top. John with a more standard pitch. Emerson with a horseshoe look.
From a knee. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. From an extremely cluttered stance, Emerson Keith inside the circle, but we're going to watch it again.
Oh, look at this camera angle. Absolutely the only line that he could get through from a knee, horseshoe putt, clipping branches on the way through to an elevated basket. Emerson Keith says, give me that birdie.
Holy cow. I did not think I was going to make that.
You love to see it. John Willis from a slightly less complicated position, able to knock in his par.
Yeah, keeping that clean round going. That's a big putt there. This is the third hardest hole on the course. We only had 3 average over par today. This is the third one at a 3.03. Hole 5 did again play as the second hardest hole on the course.
And finally, we will let Corey Ellis take his birdie look.
And we got 2 of the 22 birdies on the day as Corey Ellis moves to 22 down.
Hole 15, 270 feet, tree line to the left, a little bit of undulation and an elevated basket. But Nathan, yesterday we saw this play as an extremely easy hole. I expect we're going to see 4 right-hand backhand hyzers, and a little disappointment if you don't have a credible putting attempt at it.
Yeah, an ace alert. There is an ace on this hole today. Oh, not quite Corey's there.
Okay, it wasn't Corey. We got 3 more chances on this card. Emerson going to go with kind of a slow disc. Swings the hyzer out to the right.
Yeah, this looks great.
And that's what you're envisioning. A little bit of ground play just to shuffle you to the left. Take the branches out of play entirely.
Yeah, I definitely like the slow disc play here. Even though there's low wind, faster disc, any type of little jump, you can get a skip off of the ground and get a little farther away than you want for this elevated basket, which is, again, on a pretty sloped green. But as far as out here at Jonesboro, at the disc side of heaven course goes, you still got to get this one.
Yeah, sandwiched in between a couple of really big shots, but you can't let your mind wander too much. Still got to execute. We're going to see 4 birdie putts coming, started by Corey Ellis.
And count it. What else would you expect? Man is on a roll right now.
12 down through 15, just filling up the card with green.
Austin McDaniel, able to card the ace today. Shout out to him.
Definitely got to holler about that.
I wonder if Jerm was close enough to see it.
And as expected, in for Emerson and John Willis.
Gotta get that done.
I'm Chris Dickerson. I just want to shout out Discraft Disc Golf and Grip Equipment.
Kyle Klein stepping up for the birdie on 18.
Your Open champion, Gannon Burr. Another record-setting weekend on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Back-to-back weeks. Winner coming from the chase card. Pretty special stuff. Gannon Burr, Kyle Klein, 2 young superstars on tour, showing you how to get it done.
Hole 16, our lone par 5 of the weekend, 855 feet. Ideally, For these power players, you're going to get left of this tree, so you then have a big spike hyzer across the water to try to either spike just in front or maybe over top of these trees and have a long look coming back at the basket. Getting over in 2 is really ideal, as the second shot to lay up is pretty tricky. It's hard to get in a good spot for that third shot if you're not going across the water.
Corey Ellis with a big forced shot. Does push left enough off of the tee. Should set him up in decent position to carry. Emerson going left almost immediately, but with a slightly flippier disc.
And he has gone way over to the left side. I'm not exactly sure what that does to the angle. It might be the same angle, just play a bit farther now across the water.
I think so. I think, if anything, it makes it easier because you're throwing directly at the tree that you want to come in front of. You just let stability solve the last half of your problem instead of having to flex. And Dickerson rewarded for throwing an excellent shot by being directly underneath the feature tree in the middle of the fairway. He will almost certainly have to lay up. And John, very committed to getting that to the left side, never quite pops up to flat, and he will be, with that bonus roll, pretty close to where Emerson gets.
Yeah, 3 shots in pretty good position, I think, to try to attack the green for eagle, which we did see 15 players get yesterday.
Keith swinging it wide. This has the power. And carries the pines, tucks into circle 1.
What a sweet shot.
And with that read, John Willis can try to throw a very similar shot. This one is hung a little bit more to the right and appears to be more stable.
Yeah, they were calling for it to go in, but he catches those branches just in front of the basket, but falls down into the gap. Should have a 20 to 25 foot putt from right there.
And Corey Ellis taking a very different road.
What?
Going over top of hole 6's island green, glow buzz, old disc. Look at it
Oh my
fly and just
goodness.
ride to the right. That is such a high level shot.
Oh man, I don't often go back and watch things again, but I am absolutely going to go back and watch that amazing turnover shot from Corey Ellis there.
Just gorgeous. Buzz shot from 400 or so.
And that right there, that's what makes this upshot so difficult. How steep this slope is downhill. It's very hard to not throw it too far and end up going OB. Then you end up leaving it short, and your angle gets very funny because you've got all these branches and trees in the way. And you have to throw some crazy shot. He does well to get across the water there, but definitely not what he's looking for. He's not looking for a circle 2 birdie putt on this hole.
And tries to float it in there, catches one chain, and oh boy. Roll downhill, back into deep circle 1. Ellis, this would be for his eagle.
That's the first miss we've seen from him on the putting green, I believe.
Yeah, you hope he wasn't a little intimidated by Dickerson's result.
Sometimes when you know you can still get a birdie, that can creep into your head. You know, that was an eagle putt.
Yeah, it's almost like you let off the gas for a moment. Emerson also looking at that eagle.
And what a way to catapult yourself up. That will move him back inside that top 10 position now. 9 under through the round. Chance to get himself to double digits.
And Chris Dickerson, alas, going to settle for a bogey on hole 16, kind of continuing an inconsistent round. Some of it from the course, some of it by his own hand. John Willis, a disappointing birdie coming.
Yeah, 56% of the field taking birdie or better. 19% of that being eagles. That's 21 players. So, although there's some disappointing birdies here, Chris Dickerson definitely walking away, feeling a little disheartened after that one.
Hole 17, 660 feet. There is an out-of-bounds fence line to the left that you absolutely have to test if you want to have a straight or visible look at the basket. Tree line to the right. Everything slopes from left to right. Expect to see force overs that flex back a little bit or some late turning shots off the tee. And then whatever you can find to get it close to the basket on your second. Emerson.
Well,
That's not where he threw it, but that's where it went.
yeah, he could have gone OB there for sure, so nice to not be OB. Could have done without the roll away. Staying on that tree may still leave him in position to get a funny angle around there to circle 2, possibly circle 1.
Corey Ellis going to utilize all of his power trying to get past the corner, but tags the feature tree that's at the 250 stake, drops down.
Yeah, hitting those branches in the air with that much movement still is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see what kind of look he can get if that is able to fly clean.
Yeah, so John Willis throwing his a bit lower, and he's going to be in a great spot, pretty much reaching that 250 pin.
Yeah, good discipline there. I think he may have disked down, as Dickerson is also doing, ensuring that he can't push into the tree line on the right. Going OB is not good, but at least you have a straight look at the basket. Going into the tree line on the right is how you stack up, strokes in a hurry.
Definitely so. Trying to get too aggressive and not just taking your medicine and laying out, being in the woods on the right side. Chris still going to have to put a little bit of Anheuser on this, but catching a nice drift around the corner. A little bit too much speed. He's going to push to circle 2 yet again.
To my eye, it looked like he threw that disc very slowly, but with a ton of spin, which held it in the air, letting the downslope do a lot of the work. Corey kind of from a bad spot, pinned on the corner, likely going to have to lay up for a par. John Willis. Love to see the mid-range shot coming in nice and slow, just past the basket.
Yeah, beautiful shot. Still has that clean round going, looking to add another birdie, and all of a sudden he's going to be 8 under par.
Emerson Keith kind of spiking a forehand into the ground, gets one good bounce, but comes up pretty short.
Yeah, and as you called, Corey having a layup there. Very smart play, just going to take his par.
Corey not one to look at scores, so he may not know that 13 down is potentially enough to at least keep him on coverage, whether it's lead card or chase card, if he can par out.
Yeah, and Chris keeping that trend of not many pars. Going to card another birdie, even with the bit of an up and down round that he's had. He's still 6 under par.
I feel like leading in bounce back is a little bit insulting because it means you had some bogeys to begin with.
Right, and apparently here at Jonesboro, if you want to be inside the top 10, that is not a thing that you can do.
John also gets his birdie, and a pretty sneaky but steady 8 down.
Yeah, he's got a couple turkeys in his round. Able to card a few birdies in a row, but then he'll get on some par streaks also. But like you said, pretty sneaky. He's right there just behind Emerson. we are at the hardest hole of the course, second day in a row, almost a third stroke harder than the second hardest hole on the course. 818-foot par 4, got OB all the way down the left side, OB almost all the way down the right side, tight gap to hit off of the tee pad. Gotta get way off to the right if you want to be able to use the right side fairway on the second shot.
And John unable to make the gap. That actually kicks out of bounds, and
That's gonna kill that clean round.
I tell you what,
I don't see par save.
no, there's not really a good place you can go once you're on that left side. Hard to advance on meaningfully on your third. Dickerson just smashing through the gap.
And that's a great drive that leaves you in a very difficult position to get the birdie.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of in between three options, three gaps to work with. He's about 350 or so away. Emerson, this is the dream shot. Slow drift to the right and then settling. He will be looking directly up the left gap.
A fantastic shot. Like you said, just draws it up. Slow drift to the right.
I believe this is the same bayonet he's been throwing all around for the hyzer release to late drift.
And just what a pretty shot it was. That last camera view we saw shows you how far away Emerson just threw that disc from where he's at.
Mm-hmm. Corey, one final tee shot to cap off a great round. Hits the gap. Needs some friendly result here. Does land safe with a kick to the right.
Yeah, that gets a very friendly result. Those branches could drop you down to the OB pretty quickly. And looking like John is going to kind of get double punished here. After going OB, he is not in a great spot, is able to get out, but doesn't get much distance on that shot.
Well over 500 feet left into the bucket. So at this point, you need to ignore the scorecard and just throw the best shots that you can from here on out.
Yeah, and that's what he's done. Getting past that cluster gets him in a good spot to get up and down. Gonna be looking at a double bogey to finish the round.
Ellis, this is a very good golf play. Not trying to do too much, but
Keep going. Keep going. Now stop.
this is the rare thing where you want to roll away. Being pinned behind that big cluster is a problem, but now that he's gotten back to the stake, it should leave a right-hand backhand hyzer. Chris, I think this is an undertaker. We saw him last week at Champions Cup throwing this disc very well.
Lining up this center gap, trying to go above the branch, and he's done it. He does clip a little bit along the way, but gets to right at circle's edge. That's an incredible shot from Chris Dickerson. It's so hard to do that.
You see the full body commitment using all of that ceiling. It's a doggone postage stamp window up there by the time you factor in the little leaves and twigs.
Yeah, incredible shot. Not much bigger of a gap over here. You still got some low branches. But Emerson able to get through there cleanly, needs it to check.
And we'll see what kind of look he has. Those low branches at circle's edge can be very intrusive.
And a solid up and down there from Corey to wrap up his round. He's going to be just outside the bullseye looking to tap in a bogey-free 13 under par.
And John, a good spinny putter shot just outside the bullseye. He's going to take a couple bogey strokes here, but still a very nice round.
Oh, man, this has got to be a bit annoying, to say the least. Two good shots on the hardest hole on the course, and you don't have a chance. I don't like it.
Gotta imagine Emerson's a little frustrated as well. Chris Dickerson, also two good shots, capped off by a good putt. 7 down overall. Keeps him in the top 20 for the event.
Yeah, 7 down. I'm pretty sure that's 3 bogeys and a double bogey on that.
So definitely getting enough birdies to be in contention. And Corey does get that 13 under overall. That's going to push him into solo 4th place. We're sorry to see you go, Corey, but enjoy that lead card in the final round. Hope to make an improvement on that 15th place finish that he had last year at the very same tournament. You see our card spreading out a little bit. Emerson going to stay on the Gatekeeper Media Chase card in the final round. And look at that leaderboard. What do you see?
I see it's tight. We have another opportunity for somebody from Chase Card to make a leap and take that victory. Gonna have to do some work, though, as we've seen a couple 13s from both of our leaders now.
And not to downplay the excellent work, but also a 17 under course record from James Conrad, vaulting him from deep on the leaderboard all the way up to the lead card.
Unworldly. Looking forward to seeing what these guys can do tomorrow to catch the final round of the Jonesboro Open. For Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen, and we'll see you guys out there.